I have 5 main positives on this movie that made me enjoy the length of its show, and I am not surprised honestly I saw it again. This movie is one of the movies that I was waiting for, and the reason is unusually the trailer. It was somewhat clear from the trailer that he was in a mysterious need, in an exciting, suspenseful, and different need. Although I liked the trailer, I advise you to watch the trailer before watching the movie. The story of the movie is about a fancy restaurant that has 1,000 lines under a luxury. These restaurants, so that we do not see pictures of them, we hear about only, which only the highest classes of society go to, as this restaurant in the story is located on an island. So you visit this restaurant is necessary to go to this island. And the restaurant is located on the island because the basic idea is that this island provides all the resources for the restaurant as it can need. From plants, from vegetables to meat, each is raised and grown within the island. The promise from the beginning, and before you reach that you will live an exceptional dining experience. But the experience and the story of the film is truly unique for both the guests of the restaurant and the viewers watching the story. The film is a drama film combined in a wonderful way with black comedy, which uses the story and uses the dialogue within the story to comment on certain groups of society in a satirical way. All the guests who go to this restaurant and with whom we will live this experience represent a certain category of society. The story is related to this category from the perspective of wealthy workmakers, actors, critics, and the category that you have certainly seen, all of you. Food nerds, especially those who are attached to social media and photograph every meal and comment on every detail in every meal.
You won't know till the end.
Who are you?
I am Margot. Why do you care?
I have to know if...
I have 5 main positives on this movie that made me enjoy the length of its show, and I am not surprised honestly I saw it again. The first and biggest positive is that the film knew how to balance between horror and comedy in the films of the second year. I tried to do the same thing, but I appeared absurdly provocative because the horror classification is usually serious. It must weaken the drama and make the character afraid, and from these things you merge this classification with a second classification based on silliness. Let's say it's hard to present a balanced movie, but I can say that this movie has this weight in a very terrible way. I mean, the whole time the movie was shown, I was laughing at the jokes, but at the same time I was nervous and afraid that one day scenes would come out that are considered horror. I mean, comedy was not harmful and drama was not harmful to comedy. And you don't feel that comedy is less than drama or drama is less than comedy. The balance between the two was very beautiful, and I enjoyed it a lot. The second most important positive factor for me is certainly dialogue. The dialogue and the words used in it, whether describing food dishes or describing the relationship between man and eating, and most importantly sarcastic commentary on the classes of society and the types of food presented. The dialogue is ironic and beautiful, but it gave us a chance to give the viewer a chance to understand all the events and circumstances that we will go through in the film, because we suddenly get to know a large number of characters with whom we are going through strong events. Tragic as well as understanding every need that is happening on the screen through dialogue. The method of dialogue is what stopped the movie mainly because the film is of the type of movies that are shot in one place. 90% of the scenes, without exaggeration, are shot in one place inside this restaurant. And this type of movies is impossible to succeed if the dialogue is a place that attracts you. You imagine that you are sitting in one place, and people are sitting, you don't have any chance to offer any kinds of excitement except during arguments, dialogues, and textual fights. Add to it strange, comic, sarcastic comments. This brings me to the third factor that contributed to the strength of the movie, which is acting. We have a necessary dialogue that is represented in the right way, especially acting. I can divide the actors in the story into 2 parts. A section that gave us characters that were them, the basis is in drama and sarcastic comments. And the second section of the actors also gave us comedy, and also has one aspect of the drama that is very simple, but their comments tend to superficial, which is very useful for irony in the movie. But the characters that you do not forget, even after the end of the movie, are the characters that gave us the dramatic side, and we do not forget not only drama, the side of drama with irony. And especially the actress AnyaTaylorJoy away from this movie. This actress proves time after time that she is one of the most important girls and the most important actresses of the new generation. Personally, in the last 5 or 6 years, no other actor has caught my attention. And in this particular movie, she made a wonderful duet with the actor, Ralph Fiennes. This answers me to him. This answers me the most beautiful performance, the most complete performance. And I don't think I am exaggerating if I say that it is a guaranteed Oscar nomination. I wish at least. He was the hero of the movie with all merit. How beautiful is the acting? And for the difference that he gave us from the first word, from the first sentence, and from the first look at the acting performance, you will get a feeling of awe and prestige. It is nice to continue in the same way from the beginning of the movie to the end. It is true that it is majestic and somewhat scary, with sarcastic comments that were the most beautiful and the most comments that made me laugh personally. This is terrible, my brother, and this is the actual definition of the meaning of black comedy. The most beautiful acting roles in his career, he reached a stage where we can see if he reached the edge of madness, if he was not crazy in the first place. And the amazing thing is that all his comments are philosophical and charming with a terrible depth. The fourth factor is the constant mystery in the movie that made me sit all the time on the chair excited to see what will happen. I mean, from the very few movies that I saw in the year that made me say what will happen. All the time I was involved in the movie and excited to see explanations of some of the things in the movie. I can tell us to a great extent. The film was a constant trauma. Fifth factor. The general atmosphere, of course. Everything made the atmosphere in this movie, from acting and directing, which was tense sometimes, and the style of filming for the movie, which was very beautiful. The atmosphere of the movie was very beautiful, but at the same time it has a kind of mystery that you do not feel comfortable when you see it. 6. And it is the rhythm of the movie, an hour and 45 minutes once and so quickly. Although the rhythm of the movie was very beautiful, and I never felt time, but I wished honestly if they increased at least 10 minutes. I will mention why in the negatives of the movie. Before we enter the captives, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video and tell us about your opinion about the movie in breaking the comments. As for the notes of the movie, I don't consider this point specifically negative in most cases, and I always use the movie, Inception, as a very big example of this topic, which is that the characters exist only because the story needs them. And like I said, this thing doesn't have to be a negative thing. I mean, you don't have to introduce 13 characters and penetrate each character and say that this is such and such a past, and this will become such and such in-depth in some way that is necessary, because in the end, it is an hour or 45-minute film. But the thing that honestly follows what I liked a lot about the movie is that Anya Taylor-Joy's acting character was excellent in the movie. The main character, who is supposed to consider the eye of the audience, is not attached to her. I did not feel that they gave her enough time. I felt that there is a lack of writing somewhat. From this point of view, she feels that she is a character that exists. But for Ashen, it is the eye of the audience by telling you where I will go and what I will do, but it is not necessary that you know a lot about me. Give us a little bit about her past, but not enough to get attached to the character. I mean, honestly, I was more interested in seeing than Anya Taylor, who is the heroine of the movie. As I said, this is just a note that is not considered a strong negative. Introducing the rest of the characters was acceptable to me, and they were there, as I said, because the story needs them. But if you use this way of writing, at least the main character must sympathize with her and relate to her in one way or another, especially if she is considered the eye of the audience. I mean, all the characters were presented in the same way, but other than that, you present side characters in this way, you present a main character in the way, for me, the most movie that set the topic, or is the style of writing the movie. Inception. If you see it, I expect you know that most of the characters were there to move the story. But at the same time, you had a character, couple, but you can relate to it and sympathize with it in one way or another so that you can follow with the movie and care about its story. The second thing was also related to the presentation, which in some things could have been better explained. Let me say, especially in the last third of this. The reason I said I wish the movie had been a little longer, just about 10 minutes to introduce Anya better and explain things more understandably. I like the movie very much. I like the details of the trip. I like the different way of dealing with a story and sitting at the end of the movie. Frankly, I am confused. On the one hand, I admire everything I saw, and on the other hand, I feel that it needs more details because the film discusses the characters and their details, and does not penetrate into the depths of any character in the first place. The film gives a comment on a certain class of society in a theatrical way, and nothing more. Whether the comment is correct, whether you agree with it or not, this review was presented in the best possible way anyway. The movie was very interesting, and I recommend everyone to watch it in the cinema. The rate for this movie is from 8.5 out of 10.